let's get this party started.
Yes.
All right.
We're back for another episode. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, here come the strippers.
What?
Oh, sorry. Good ladies, wrong room.
How was the pre-workout or
What?
pre-podcast workout?
Oh, it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll post a little bit of that.
No.
Why not?
It was a joke.
Yeah, that's why it's in the video.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a joke. You're.
It was a joke.
I heard you counting to 102, 103.
There's a lot of
Ron
curls.
Burgundy.
A lot of curls
Ron
there.
Burgundy. I don't know if you heard me counting there.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Pre-podcast pump?
There we go. Yeah. For Kim's friends there.
Make some room, Eric. Make some room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right, let's get started. All right, so in this one, we're going to be talking about road etiquette
Yeah.
and automotive regulations that impact us as car enthusiasts.
It sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a point for me to vent
Okay.
on one specific.
Why don't you get on? We'll have a couch. And
Prabhu has an
work through your
issue
problems.
with one
$75
specific
an hour.
intersection in the city.
And I like to call it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all kind of, over our course of driving out there, we've hit some sort of bad driver situation and a little frustrated and wish, it was better.
Yeah.
But
Well, do you find that there's worse drivers on certain days of the week? Like, does the term Sunday driver
oh yeah,
really apply?
but I'd say so, because I think we started seeing more of them post COVID. So COVID era, people were locked up, not as much driving, and then all of a sudden, when we were allowed to drive, it seemed like
They forgot how to drive.
yeah,
I just think there's a lot more bad drivers every day, all day. I don't know if it's a Sunday thing anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's the COVID stuff just made it. More
Yeah, you
fun.
have people back on the road.
Yeah,
I think with the atrophied skill of being able to drive.
Yeah. I think at this point, you have to learn how to drive for others in a sense.
yeah,
So you have to almost look around and just assume they're going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
And be aware that it might happen. Because if you just drive your way
yeah.
and
You just have to be a more defensive driver, more aware.
yeah, I'm not even defensive, so much defensive, but just aware of the circumstances. Just, even keeping a space in front of the car. Let's say you're coming to a stoplight. Like, I keep almost 2 car lengths in front of me
Yeah.
as an escape route, right? So if something happens,
That's a young driver's tactic.
Yeah.
Like the driving school.
yeah,
Oh,
They
that's
tell you
true.
to keep, and then you
Yeah.
bring the person in.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, speaking of that, not everybody goes to that driver's ed. And for a lot of people that do it, they don't go back and refresh their knowledge of things, and
No.
20 years goes by.
No, I think from the time, like, you're whatever 16. I know it's changed from when I got my license, but it used to be like 16, and then you wouldn't be tested again until you're like 80, and you maybe had a medical event,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you have to get tested every
vision
year.
or something is
Yeah.
compromised, then you have to go
Yeah.
back in. So, I mean, where do we start with like road etiquette?
Road etiquette. You want us to air our grievances?
I guess we
there's
could
so
start-
many. There's just so many, right?
I know. Where do we start?
Yeah,
I mean, I think for me, the biggest ones are, I think the one that stands out for me and gets me frustrated all is the left lane cruisers
That is my number one.
or left lane cruisers.
Yeah, they don't respect the passing lane.
Yeah. What's it saying? Keep right, pass left.
Yeah.
That's a rule.
that's basically the story of my life going into Toronto. Every single trip, it's the same thing over and over. Or the truck passing the truck at 101 versus 106.
Yeah.
It's just, oh.
I spent 4 years of my life in what was like a 3-hour a day commute in a 400 series highway near Toronto, and it is like Mad Max.
Yeah.
It is the apocalypse. There are no rules. And that left, like, you were actually, truthfully, you were better off in the slow lane. You'd make more progress.
And this is what I
Right?
find.
It's almost reversed.
You're not overtaking, you're
Yeah.
undertaking.
Yeah.
Because everyone's on the fast lane.
Yeah.
And now the slow lanes are just free.
Empty.
I think where it becomes particularly
Irony.
apparent, if you've ever driven elsewhere, like I know you have, like I went to Poland, and drove there, any European country, they respect it.
Yeah.
And traffic flows so much better.
Yes.
It's civilized.
Yeah.
You know,
The Autobahn is another example. All the
Yeah.
German drivers, same thing. They go through rigorous training or drivers training before they get their licenses.
Yeah.
We think the average North American driver thinks that if they're in the left-hand lane and the speed limit's 100 kilometers an hour and they're doing 120, they feel that entitles them to be there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, someone could be 130 behind them.
Yeah.
They should move over.
Yeah. Or
right?
if you're going to cruise on the left lane, fine. But pay attention to
Not
your review.
fine, but go on.
No, but pay attention to your rearview mirror. And if you see someone going faster.
Hold on. There's a little bit of dispute there.
Well, you shouldn't be in that lane if you're not passing. There's no reason for you to be in that lane if you're not passing a car.
So here's
it has to start there.
I can see
That's
where
the
Prabhu's saying it's not a cruising lane, but the amount of times you'd have to pass and go back and forth.
But that's what you should be doing.
If there's large intervals of of no traffic,
like
but
if you are the only,
I'm not saying like weave in, weave out, weave in, weave out, but if there's a long stretch, you should be in the right-hand lane.
That's typically what
only
I'm
come out to the left to pass.
Yeah,
whether that's doing 105 or 155.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. That's what I was highlighting. As well.
I think the audience that would watch it are probably into cars, and we would get raging agreement. Like I don't think anyone would argue that, right?
Yeah, but see, also in Canada, it's like you said. You're on the left lane, someone's doing 110 and they're not moving over because they think they're already surpassing the speed limit.
Yeah, they think,
so it's like, and you flash them or something and they give you the finger.
Yeah, like you're the ass.
Like I'm the asshole.
You know,
right?
the number of accidents that have actually been caused as a result of people just cruising along, and there's an impatient driver that comes along and says, "Look, I want to pass. It's my passing lane. Let me through."
Yeah.
But these guys would just hang out and knowingly
do it on
block you from doing it, and they'll go side by side with the car next to them and block you from passing. It's like serious. Move on. The person is doing faster.
And like many of the highways in Europe, they're actually like they have digital speed limits. So depending on traffic or time of day, the limit actually can be as low as 70 or 80 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
Up to 140.
Yeah.
So it fluctuates that much, and it's actually much safer driving that way than it is having a speed limit of a set 100 kilometers per hour. It's, makes more sense.
I just wish some of those rules or regulations will just evolve with our cars as well. Like those speed limits were meant for cars that couldn't do 100 kilometers an hour for sustained periods of time.
Yeah.
And we'll get there. What I wish on this idea of left lane hogs, where's the enforcement? They will have all the cars in the world and the speed camera. They have all the money to invest in speeding, and yet I'd suggest that it's probably, I don't know if it's equal, but it's a significant part of the accident story.
Oh yeah,
when you have a left, because you have other people taking evasive measures, but they don't police it at all.
So apparently there was like a report that was come out maybe like 2 years ago. Excuse me, where Vancouver was policing this, and they were actually ticketing people that were just cruising along.
I saw that
in the passing lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so regulated here in Ontario as much, but I mean,
it happened to me once.
There's
happened to me once coming back from Toronto. We were just, I guess, east of Toronto, still leaving like the GTA, and traffic, I don't know, 118, 120, something like that. Wasn't overly fast, but it was above the speed limit. And the left lane was like jammed. It was full of cars. And then all I hear is sirens from behind me. And there's a undercover Suburban, blasting down the left lane with sirens on, just getting everybody off the left lane.
Yeah.
So there are officers or police that do kind of respect and enforce that rule. But in general, you're right. It's not enforced.
Yeah.
enough.
I mean, there's more subjectivity because you're making a judgment call on what's happening on the road versus a speed radar is just, you're 32 kilometers over. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
I mean, in a scenario of a traffic jam, no one really adheres to that, passing lane anymore. It gets jammed.
Both lanes get filled up.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's one of my biggest pet peeve of all.
I think that's number one on our list, right?
Yeah. I bet you that would be the number one on most car people's list.
Yeah.
But if you asked a non-car person, I don't think they think of it that way.
No, I think they don't think it's a
big deal.
Yeah. Is this by law something that has been defined as this is the passing lane? Because a lot of people argue that.
I think in North America, like if it isn't enforced, do people recognize it as law?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend. She was visiting me from the Netherlands, another country that really subscribes to the order of things. And I was in, driving the Toronto area, and the left-hand lane was completely blocked. So I went to the right-hand lane, and she grabbed my arm and said, like, "What are you doing?" Like this was some sacrilege thing that I should be doing that. And she's right in a way, but I had been so accustomed to becoming that impatient North American driver that these idiots aren't moving. So I'm going to just, take the slow lane and blast up.
When you see a lane that's open and on the highway, like the other 2 or 3 lanes are just jammed up, why would you not?
Right.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I've done that on 401 where I'm waiting and waiting. I'm flashing sometimes. I give them time to respond and I get nothing. So I see an opening on the 3rd lane. I just go on the far right, go around and go back on the left.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's not the right thing to do, but really by logic or by, but that's what it is.
There's a race car driver. And
you left us no
choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
Yeah. DRS engaged and
I thought I was in England.
Oh, you got a GT3 RS there?
Yeah.
DRS engaged?
Actually, more and more people are installing wings with little solenoids on them. I see that. It's a new thing. The DRS spoiler.
See, Porsche starts it and all of a sudden everyone else is copying it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the arrow is going,
That's
to hit the limits of what the car can do.
So we can blast off in the left lane.
Maybe we just fly with flying cars.
Yeah. No. Not yet. We're not there yet.
So that being the one major one.
Yeah.
And I think the one that's really related to that is merging.
I have one that's associated with merging, but it's actually, I think, more important.
Oh yeah? What's that?
It's the thank you. It's the thank you.
You need the...
If someone's trying to merge,
okay,
or and you're in traffic and it's congested, they're trying to come in, and you stop, you halt, you press the brakes, you give them a little go ahead.
You're looking for the signal,
and before they turn in or after they turn, I expect a little thank you or a little 4-ways, a little 4-way action, just to they appreciate it.
I didn't know. Is the 4-ways the universal?
Yeah, the universal. If you pull out and you get the 4-ways, it's the thank you.
I usually just do the high beam before I exit. Well,
they can't see you if you're perpendicular.
Yeah, they're behind you in that scenario.
Wait, sorry. I thought you're letting.
Lucas is letting a car in front of him.
That's right.
In a merge scenario.
Oh, I see.
He's slowing up, letting them in. He's looking for.
Would you expect the thank you or not?
Oh yeah. I mean,
would you expect it? Would you expect
I know I always give it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do it as well.
Yeah.
But how do you give it though? Like, do you?
Just put your hand out.
Hands out the window.
Even on the side. Thank you.
It's a hot day, and my hands out the window.
What about freezing winter? Do you roll down?
I put the window down.
No, you put the window down.
100 kilometers.
I get out of the car.
Frostbitten hand.
Yeah.
No. I usually just we're not supposed to have tint in Ontario, so give a little wave or 4-ways.
Yeah. Provided they see through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But then there are scenarios where people don't actually see what you're doing, and you'll be like, "Go!" Like, no action.
No, there are. You're right, and that's frustrating for me. There's times where there's traffic jam, cars lined up down the road.
Yeah,
and I'm clearly giving a space. I'm not stopping, but I've reduced my speed by a significant amount to leave a gap.
Yeah,
and I'm waiting for the person to go, and they're looking at me, and I'm just rolling slowly, and they're not responding. And the minute I come up to the car, they decide to pull out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I shouldn't have let you in. I shouldn't have let you in, Yeah. But that's just a bad driver, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's also...
Well, let's talk about the merge, because I think we have a difference of opinion on what should happen in a merge scenario.
All right.
Okay, so let's you're
give us a little scenario here.
You're getting on the highway.
Do you get these cars on here?
You're getting on the highway, the merge lane. Say there's some congestion on the highway.
Okay.
I think what I heard in our previous conversation was that your expectation is the car that's on the on-ramp is supposed to merge in ASAP.
Well, once you're on the merge lane, you've got
200 meters.
You have speed that matches the traffic.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a bit of slowdown in traffic.
Sure, but find a gap and get into traffic. don't wait to the last minute at the end of the lane to merge, is my opinion.
So here's
So there's something called there's something called the zipper merge.
So imagine that this is where you're talking about people.
I don't see the on ramp on this scenario.
Right here.
Yeah, right there.
No, the on ramp. Yeah, but the on ramp is beside it.
Yeah, and then the lane ends.
Well, I know, but you can't cross over early. But there's many highways that are where they are joined. It's just the dotted line. My theory is, and it's called the zipper merge, that you're supposed to use as much of that as you can, and if there's cars behind you, it forms like a zipper. You go, they go, the person.
But that only works if every other car lets the car.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
Everyone should be respecting this.
Yeah, but
and you should be using the entirety of the on ramp, and you shouldn't slow up the traffic of the behind you.
Yeah.
So you got to keep moving and use it all. But I see some people that say that are on the highway that are trying to play the role of an NFL blocker and not let someone in.
Yeah.
And that's not it. Like you've got to let this.
So the part of the reason why when people are driving, getting on the on-ramp and merging in as soon as possible before getting all the way to the end to your zipper merge lane thing or whatever, it's because there are people that won't let people merge in or traffic.
Or the other thing is they'll wait to the last minute.
Yeah.
And they're not paying attention to traffic behind or gaps in the left lane. And they start to panic towards the end.
Yeah.
And what do they do when you panic? They start to brake.
And they stop.
And they almost come to a stop.
But that's the receiving traffic hasn't done its job.
Partially.
No. It takes two to tango, right?
Yes, but you shouldn't be reducing speed. You should be increasing
here's
speed.
The thing. I agree. But the people that are in the existing lane, they think, who does this a-hole thinks he is, that his time is more valuable than mine, that he should go ahead
in front of you.
Right. And that's what they think. And that mindset.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. Like we can all work together and make a more efficient traffic system.
I agree.
You know, if I could quote Rocky IV at the end of the fight, he says, if I can change and you can change, then the whole world can change.
Yeah.
And we can make merging efficient again.
Is that what he said in the movie?
He talked about merging.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't catch that part. I heard the word, but change, but not about merging in a zipper format. No, I didn't hear about that. No.
Yeah, he did.
Well, Rocky knew what
talking about.
Yeah. Good example. I mean, I think we agree to it. It's just, I think
if the zipper actually worked, that's the best form of merging.
Yes.
But it's never going to work. Yeah. That's the problem.
Oncoming traffic understands that there's merging traffic.
Yeah.
And let them through and not be a complete.
But it takes, like Eric said, one NFL blocker to disturb the entire format. So that's why, and I know if I hold off to the end of the merge lane, I'm going to be at a deficit.
And if you've ever thought about this, most of traffic jams are a result of bad merging scenarios.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's at these choke points that you have blocks.
Yes.
And causes traffic jam all the way. And it's
ripple effect way back.
Yeah. But it's not just on-ramp traffic. It's also people on the fast lane that's been cruising, going back to our previous point, trying to do an exit. Yep. Now, they have to cross across 4 or 5 lanes.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do? They hit the brakes.
Yes.
They don't have a way to merge out because there's NFL players trying to block the guy from getting out from the fast lane onto the exit. Slows down, the cars go by, there's more jam because everyone's all confused what's going on.
Yeah. Anytime I change a lane or try to find a gap, I never slow down. I always speed up.
Because you're in the passing lane.
Yeah, you have to adapt to a speed or find a gap and then go into it. Like pressing the brakes on an on-ramp or the left lane to change lanes is the worst thing. I think even in driving school, they even tell you it's okay to exceed the speed limit on the on-ramp in order to merge with traffic. If the traffic's moving faster, don't hold the speed limit.
Yeah. And then hope that the rest of the world adapts around.
That's right.
Yeah,
you got to blend in with traffic. And then this is why cops, even though they're on the highway, and if you're doing 120 or whatever, a little bit more, they don't pull you over because everyone else is doing about the same speed.
So if we all did 160, would we be safe?
They can't do nothing. What are they going to do? Pull everybody
one person over.
They'll pull one person over that they
just don't be, if you're driving to somewhere on the highway in a cluster of a group. Never be the last one in the group.
Yeah.
Be in the middle or somewhere there, but don't be the last one.
Yeah.
'Cause
I guess if you see a cop behind you, slow down.
yeah, merging.
So merging, left lane hogs. What are the other ones?
Tailgating.
Tailgating. Yeah, tailgating is a big one.
But what's the root cause on tailgating? Sometimes it could be you were in the left-hand lane. Maybe.
No, I think the biggest, I guess,
is that an okay application of tail hogging? Like you're in the left-hand lane, someone's in front of you, you get on their tail.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of the high beam action.
Yeah.
But
Try
again,
to dust them off the plate.
But that could be dangerous driving to some.
Mhm.
You know, that could panic the driver in front, or it could trigger rage
Yeah.
to the driver in front. So now,
Or it could disturb them from their Instagram feed or whatever.
they're
watching 'cause they're not
consuming
paying
it at
attention.
120 kilometers an hour on fast lane.
They're watching the Dev Thing Car Talk podcast. on
Well, if
their
it's a
phone.
Tesla on autopilot,
That is true.
they're just enjoying watching Prabhu's podcasts, and then this asshole comes from behind, flashing, tailgating.
Yeah.
Bleep. So I'm curious, what would the autopilot do in this scenario?
It would nothing.
It would just keep.
It would just continue its speed. I'm not sure autopilot reacts to tailgating.
I think
Like,
as
it'll
AI
brake
gets
check.
built out, it'll
No, but
probably
does it
come-
know it's on the passing lane and say I'm not supposed to be in this lane?
I don't know.
Good
Interesting.
question. Someone with a Tesla chime in.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'm sure it will get there. That it is the most efficient way to sort of move traffic.
And this is why, you know, when it came to fully autonomous cars, they won't work with people driving cars in the mix as well.
hmm
It only works when
Everything is.
everything is autonomous,
Yeah.
and it algorithm knows, okay, what lanes to go in, how to merge. It's going to address all of these things that we're talking about as like issues and frustration points.
Yeah.
But it just means you can't drive the car when you get on.
And you have to also like, is it so AI, like does Mercedes AI, is it the same as Tesla?
Yeah.
We've, you know, as an arm of what my organization does is they insure vehicles, and that is something they've had, you know, we've had to think about is how do you know, does the insurance of a Mercedes AI vehicle, self-driving vehicle, is it the same as a Tesla or a Hyundai? Like, how do you think about that in terms of self-driving?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tesla is its own proprietary software, but they've also open sourced a lot of their tech. So others can start using it and leveraging it, modifying it, making it better or worse. Right. It could go both ways. You could take open source software that's really good, make it better.
Maybe that's new luxury or the new premium is the AI in the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's instead of buying the BMW, I can only afford the Kia AI, so I could die in a fiery car crash.
So that's how Tesla tiers their autonomous pilot. They have a couple of packages. You can get the fully autonomous package, which requires a couple of sensors on in addition, or you can just get the basic.
Is that I can fall asleep on my drive to work package?
Yeah,
the fully autonomous.
Okay. There's actually a video of a company in China that try to mimic Tesla's, I guess, software, and the guy's, I guess, POV view of the steering wheel on the highway, and the car it starts to, let's say, merge right to an off ramp, and there's an inconsistency in like the highway wall or something, and it just cranks right. He has to overcorrect and bring it back.
Wow.
So there's faults in that system still. Like I don't think I trust a car driving me around.
I don't want that. I enjoy driving. We all enjoy driving.
Yeah, we enjoy it. But even let's say in Uber, if Ubers were AI, I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable sitting in like the car, letting the car drive me. I feel safer with a person conducting the vehicle, you know?
Yep, I agree. This is probably a good topic for our next episode of autonomous vehicles and what the future holds.
I'll be sick.
Yeah. We'll get Rob back. He has an opinion.
Okay, let's go back to the
tailgating. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest, there's that highway scenario where you're going too slow, someone's on your bumper. But there's also people who tailgate, let's say you're in traffic.
Yeah.
And it's an 80 zone, but you're going 60.
Yeah.
There's 50 cars in front of you going the same speed. And there's that one guy who keeps peeping out onto the opposing lane, and he's glued to your bumper as if you're going too slow. And
Oh. Here's the scene. This guy
just blew his engine or something.
blew the motor.
So we were just driving behind a guy who was gunning it, bottomed out or something. We saw what, I don't know, oil pan, whatever it was. Something shattered and exploded.
Well, he tried to pass us at 150 on a bad road.
150 on a bad road. And now we're gonna see him. It's an Audi something, A6 or A8.
I think it's
on
an
the side of
A5
the
or
road
A6
here.
there.
He's got us up here. He's with the flashers on. Bad idea, geez.
Bad idea.
There's a reason why they're calling out 2 car lengths space between the car lengths. It's the amount of time it takes for you to react.
Reaction time for braking.
Yeah. And hit the brakes so you have enough room to slow down.
Yeah, I think in a chain reaction, right? It's the insurance company of the last person that pays, right?
So don't be the guy rear-ending someone.
Right.
You're at fault, no matter what.
Other than maybe, to turn up the heat on the left lane hog. Otherwise, probably not the thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So in that scenario, would brake checking be like frowned upon? You tell me. I don't know. He's tailgating. He's on your bumper. Do you brake check?
I don't think you do.
Do you pull Max Verstappen on Hamilton?
Well, I don't think you do because you love your car.
Yeah.
Like put yourself in your M3 or your 911. You would never brake check.
But there are some that will brake check it and
because
say
they want a new bumper.
Yeah.
Well,
you hit me if you want, but hey, you're gonna pay like
from an
50 grand.
enthusiast point of view. Don't.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna.
Yeah, you try to avoid that. I usually try to pass or speed up or something or get out of the way.
So I would say not in my fancy cars, but I am guilty of brake checking in the past. I don't do it anymore, but I have done it a handful of times.
The best way to win a fight is to avoid one.
But if you're in,
that's not what Rocky said.
I'm going for a different bank. This is Gandhi. Go there.
No, Gandhi believed in the freedom of movement.
But he was a
moving your vehicle in the reverse direction.
I'm sure we've all kind of had that.
You know why you shouldn't do? I mean, you shouldn't do that because you could get hurt and people could get hurt. You also shouldn't do that because there's this proliferation of dash cams that now will see you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I got panicked.
That's true.
No, I
panicked, so I had nothing else to do but break. No, I agree.
All right,
I'm just making
a provocateur,
making an argument on the channel.
Yeah.
No, I agree with the dash cams and everything. Not everybody have like 360 dash cams or whatever.
Preble's launching a new Instagram page called Worst Drivers Ottawa.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah.
There's actually a YouTube page that I just started noticing.
Canada's Worst Drivers.
Yeah, Ottawa.
No way. Ottawa edition.
Yeah.
Is it are the cars modified too?
No, could be the same person.
Yeah.
Oh. Have you ever watched the Canada's Worst Driver?
Yeah.
Like that's. I sometimes I watch that and I'm like, this
can't be real.
It has to be staged.
You know?
There's no way this is real.
And then there's some people that just aren't meant to drive.
Yeah,
I think that would be
their hand-eye coordination.
Live in a big city.
Yeah.
They will benefit from Uber driving or autonomous driving.
Yeah.
They just don't want to drive. And if you don't want to drive, don't go on the road.
Yeah.
Don't get a vehicle just because. It's a means to an end, but at the same time, you're being unsafe.
Yeah.
What else is on the
docket?
Well, we talked about being courteous.
Yep.
That was a one. If you let someone in, wave. Be mindful of blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people check their blind spots.
But I think there's a dual accountability there. I think drivers shouldn't hang out in someone's blind spots as well. Both people play a role in that. There's some people that just foolishly, they'll pace at the same.
I agree.
Like you shouldn't do that.
No.
Either pass or get off the bumper.
Let's say you're changing lanes. What do you do first? Because
check blind spot.
Okay. I hate when people signal first.
Oh.
Well, you're a BMW owner. I'm surprised you signal at all. But,
where do we go with that?
Eric's going to walk home today.
It's true. You know what I'm saying?
No, but
that signal stock is mint on the M3. It's never been used.
It's still not. Like there's no gloss to it at all.
No finger oils.
No. Yeah.
No, but what's your
Well, I never signal first because I hate to, as a, let's say,
I know you've said this to me before.
I just,
you don't want to let the other driver know what you do, and
I just don't like to signal when, let's say I'm driving and Eric signals as I'm on his rear bumper. And then I'm like, I'm not sure if he sees me and he's turning into me or if I have to slow down or just continue my pace. I prefer if he looks over and sees if there's a car incoming, finds an appropriate gap to merge or change lanes and then signal. But
see, that's a defensive tactic. Because,
that's how I drive.
Yeah, no, because there are people that will ride your blind spot and not let you in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's almost better to find that opening and then signal to get it. And I guess on the flip side, when you signal first and then you're showing your intent to wanting to merge in, you're letting the person on your blind spot or right beside you or whatever say, I want to go in. You either pass me or let me through.
Yeah.
Right. Then they become the arbiter of your faith, of your fate, because they'll say, I'm either going to speed up and be a jerk, or I'm gonna back off and see the position.
But
most of the time they speed up.
It still depends. You have to time your signal.
But that's why you do it. I know that's why.
But you have to time your signal appropriately, in my opinion.
I'm the same way. Because what happens, I guess, in that scenario as well is you're already merging.
Yeah.
And then as you're merging, you're turning your signal and like, oh shit, the guy didn't get a chance to react to.
Yeah.
And I do that too.
Yeah. Fucking Audi driver.
So I try consciously to try and signal first sometimes. Okay, let's be nice. And if the guy still rides my tail, that's when I'm like, okay, sport mode. Vroom.
Oh. Exceeding the speed limits on city streets, Prabhu, huh?
Oh. Staying within the speed.
Oh, okay. You're good.
Yeah. That's why turbo motors are great in the city.
That's true.
Down, you know. Anyways.
Or turbo diesels.
Ooh, a lot of torque.
A lot of torque.
I think I prefer my Z speed or ZF Auto with 450 horsepower.
Yeah, but have you ever driven a good diesel?
No.
A Jetta diesel is something.
No. I had an X5D, and it was good in the city. Very, very peppy. Like, it had tons of torque. I had it too until about, I don't know, I think I had 1100 horsepower, 1100
pound-feet
of torque. And on the highway, you could be doing like 100 and step on the gas and it wouldn't even downshift. It would pull so hard to like 150, 160.
That's crazy.
In sixth gear. It was a pleasure to drive.
So those cars are banned now, right?
No. Yes, sorry. They're not banned, but they don't make diesels anymore. Now they're all
hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather take a clean diesel over a hybrid.
Yeah. There's a lot of issues with clean diesels. That's from my experience.
Yeah.
I had one of those Volkswagen Jettas that were recalled.
Oh.
It's the greatest car I've ever owned.
Yeah, because it appreciated.
I bought that car. I drove it for 120,000 kilometers. 3 years later, I got $3,000 more than I paid for it.
Not bad.
Not bad, eh?
It all worked out.
It's better than Porsche ownership.
You know what I never understood about that was that I was driving a lot and I would put in, I don't know, 50 liters of diesel and it would take me 1,100 kilometers. How is that not good for the environment? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And producing diesel is not a very...
No, so it's less refinement
Mm-hmm.
and then gas. So
I guess it produces more CO2 than regular...
But yours was a clean diesel or was it just diesel?
Well, I don't know.
Did it have urea fluid?
I don't know. I didn't have, there's no additive that.
Okay, so it wasn't clean diesel. It was just a diesel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand it either. I always looked at clean diesels as an alternative to petrol.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a better choice than EVs in my books, but they found emissions issues that prevent it from being as efficient.
They didn't find anything. It's all scam.
No, in the Volkswagen thing?
Yeah.
No, it was a scam. They cheated. They basically had a cheat mode where if the car was dyno tested, they had...
No, for diesels, not the petrol ones.
Yeah, I'm saying...
Same thing?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
with Volkswagen, that was the whole scandal, was that they basically, the engineers knew they couldn't meet the emissions requirement. So they engineered a cheat mode where when the cars were being tested, it was always on a dynamometer. So you weren't actually moving. So
when you
when
plug
the
it
car
in.
knew that it wasn't moving, but the wheels were turning, it would lower, it would limit the RPMs.
Yeah.
It would lower the emissions of the vehicle.
But I thought
Brilliant.
But
Yeah.
I thought that applied to it was not just a diesel only thing. I thought it was a petrol vehicles.
I think it was a diesel only thing.
Was it a diesel?
Yes.
For the Volkswagen, it was diesel.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was their and it bled into some of the Audi lineup that used
Yeah.
the same.
Because Porsche models were compromised
Yep.
as well for that
Yeah.
same reason.
Anything that was using, it was a 3-liter
Uh,
6 diesel. I think.
Yeah, I think
that
Cayenne
was
had a
it.
diesel too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're about 30 minutes into this podcast.
Mhm.
Road etiquette.
Yeah.
Did we cover all the kind of
That's the big ones, I think,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure if there's any other.
Yeah.
things like stay focused and avoid distractions?
Well, it's distracted because I think we were talking a couple of days ago about like, would you raise the speed limit in a way, because technology of cars has improved, the safety of cars has improved,
regulations.
right? Speed limits, but they've stayed the same for 40, 50
Yeah.
years now, yet cars have gotten better technology, tire technology is better. And I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm torn on this because I think in a way, based on the technology of cars, yes, you should. But I think drivers have gotten so much worse and more distracted that maybe
Yeah.
you don't. I don't know.
That's true.
And our roads, have the roads gotten better?
No,
They're
gotten
worse.
worse here. in
So,
Ottawa.
like, would you think, I mean, I've been on some highways, like, a perfect example was last weekend when we filmed your GT3 RS and we went east towards Orleans. Like,
third world country.
I felt bad driving your car over that, going 110
Yeah.
on that highway.
I heard that boom.
I felt like this is a 400 series highway,
Yeah.
and I can't go 110.
Yeah.
So
You know what's funny about that? My
So
dad
it's not it was 174 that we're on. Not
174.
was it 174?
Yeah.
Okay.
400 turns.
But
401
it's
turns into
Yeah, but it was a 417 into 4 whatever. But it was still 4 lanes, right? 2 and 2.
yeah. The point I was going to make about was my dad. So we've lived in Dubai for however long or whatever, and when my dad came here for the first time, he started driving on these roads. He's like,
Why are they shit?
"Why? Yeah, Dubai has roads that are 100 times better than these.
Yeah.
What's so special about Canada?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I come up with excuses. We go through 3 different seasons.
There is truth to that.
Yeah.
In a way where you have expansion and contraction that you don't get in other climates.
Snow removal trucks that basically drag, and any little opening they
Yeah.
rip open the road. So I mean, it's a
But
byproduct of our.
I think
weather.
it's a little bit like, but living in the 21st century, you have to think that technology can solve for that. I really think what the problem is we find ourselves municipal contracts. They're every 3 years.
Yeah.
Probably incentives, not like there's
Yeah.
grades of asphalt.
Bribes.
You have
Well,
budgets to, yes, you've got payola and you have budgets to meet and
It's job security.
job security absolutely with the construction companies and the city managers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you find yourself in, especially in the city.
But now they're down on people to help out. There's not enough people doing the jobs, so they have less budget, and they're doing very bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because half the people that are supposed to be out perhaps is just staying at home.
They got labor
Yeah.
shortage.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, for the most part, like our city, I think the lack of infrastructure planning is huge, because there's times where they'll pave a brand new road
Yes.
and it's beautiful and the shoulders are wide, paved 3 feet over, and then the week after they cut it up
Yeah.
because they're running some sort
Sewers
of something underground,
Yeah.
and then they'll patch that, and then they'll put lights up, and then 2 years later they'll remove the lights because they're doing a route. It's just there's no plan. There's
there's no
our
foresight.
planning is like 2 years ahead. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other.
Well, it's also the fact that I think one group does not talk to the other group.
Yeah.
The road guys go off and do their own thing, and then the plumbing or sewer guys will do their own thing, rip it apart, and then the road guys are like,
I think there's no city plan.
yeah,
It's everything is short term
Yeah.
and temporary.
'Cause I wouldn't
it's
say
reactive.
I wouldn't say it's a Canada-wide issue because I've lived in other parts of the country where Alberta, like Edmonton, they overbuild. Like you have this ring road that encompasses the city, and it's just top notch. Or I don't know, and yet you come here, it's awful.
And
Look at Poland too.
Yeah.
It'll be a country after communism. The
Mhm.
roads there are fantastic,
Mhm.
like overbuilt,
Yeah.
and first rate
But,
bridges
but
all brand
when
new.
I drove there, I saw them do like building a highway, and I had to stop the car and just watch because I was in awe. They're excavating like 12, 15 feet below ground.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
compacting layers of sand and GA, watering it, rolling it. Then they pour a base of concrete
Yeah.
on top of all that base, and then they put pavement over that. The road is like a pancake.
Yeah.
And it lasts forever.
I mean, could these contractors not charge a bit more upfront, do the job right, then have
No,
to
and
worry about
I think
future-
that is an option provided, but
It's the thing is,
people are working within budgets. The short-term thinking, it's
Mm.
election cycles, it's everything.
yeah, but most bid scenarios, everybody wants to get the job, so everyone tries to put in the lowest bid possible
Yeah.
to still make profit and get the
or
job.
to get the job, to get
Yeah.
the work.
And it's like if all the contractors got together and said, "Listen, we want to make quality
Yeah.
quality product, quality job. Let's all agree that this is the standard we should be pricing at," and then we'd have better roads.
Can regulations kind of mandate those minimum requirements?
I'm not sure what kind of regulations the city
Well,
has for.
you could have regulations around standard and asphalt quality and
Yeah.
requirements around,
But
like,
base-
we're not doing this every 3 years. Like,
Yeah.
we should be minimum 8 years, 10 years, whatever it is, depending on the road.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like our roads don't last
Yeah.
more than 4 years right now.
Yeah.
Not even.
No. There's some roads that I remember when I was driving in like my normal car, I had to go slow. I was glad I had a Raptor because I could float over these big wavy sections of road at 100 and not be affected, right? But any other car, you had to go slow because you're on an 80 limit road and you can't go 60.
Yeah.
and like, the frustrating part for me is, it's not a tax collection issue,
Yeah.
because we pay extreme amounts of property tax, income tax. You name the form
Whoa.
of tax.
What is this?
Sorry,
The schematic.
on the road etiquette side of
Alright.
things, before we jump
Yeah.
into regulations,
Sure.
Yeah.
there was a piece that I was talking about as well. I think one of the key things for me that I think frustrates me as well is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of drivers are not aware of the scenario and their surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this scenario where you have an intersection where typically in a summer day, it's 3 lanes. It's a very tight 3 lane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's oncoming traffic trying to come in, turn right into it, and so on.
Who's the vigilante in black there?
Oh, I don't know.
Just like a onlooker?
yeah.
Patrol?
What do you evaluating car mods?
Oh, volume car mods?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Making commentary on some,
Yeah,
look at the wheels on that red car.
yeah.
It looks a bit suspect, eh?
Yeah.
Bad mods.
Okay.
But now in the scenario here, in the winter, what happens?
Is that yellow snowbanks?
The yellow snowbank.
Okay.
So that's another thing about our
Clearing roads.
clearing the roads, utter crap.
Yeah. 4-season climate.
Yeah. But as a driver that's aware should look at those scenarios and say, look, there's snowbanks on both sides. Let's not think that this is still a 3-laner.
It's not. It's a 2-laner now.
Now, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So what happens now is, and I've run into this scenario many times, is that people now on this lane park, wait for this traffic light to turn, and it takes forever to turn, blocks any oncoming traffic to get through,
Yeah.
blocks the roads up there,
Yeah.
blocks anybody from turning left. And I just don't understand how people can be so unaware
I
of the
think
surrounding.
people feel that they're privileged to take up the lanes.
Just because there's a stupid line.
And it's also the biggest thing is lack of common sense.
Yeah.
That's, I think, number one.
Anyways, that's my rant. I just wish people are more aware of the surrounding.
Well,
and the
what I take
situation.
away from this, because this is near your neighborhood, that's why you should move to Manotick. Lucas and I never have this problem,
Yeah.
ever.
Never.
Here's the other thing about city planning. This is the most narrowest of lanes I've ever seen in the city. This shouldn't be a.
You know what that needs? A bike lane. You need more bike lanes.
Yeah, more
Dude,
bike lanes.
There's bike lanes. up
Actually,
the yin
I know,
yang.
but
Is there a bike
bike
lane
lanes.
symbol painted on the road?
right there, yeah, by
Yeah.
underneath that.
No,
road.
but even on the road, there's a
Yeah,
bike
yeah, of
symbol.
course
That's-
there is.
So that's shared with bikes, which is fine. I'm
That's
okay
not
with
fine
that.
at all. How's that fine? How can you share a lane with a bike? The bike goes 10. The car goes 60.
Hey man, I
That
don't.
sounds like a pet peeve, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole bike etiquette. And we're bikers. So
And we're
it's
bikers,
not-
and listen, I would never bike in the middle of the road with cars. Not only for the disturbance of traffic and everything else, but for my own safety. I don't want to get hit and end up crippled. Get the hell off the road.
Well, that's a big topic as well.
Yeah.
that'll like,
Not part of the road etiquette thing, or
Yeah.
well, it is road
It is,
etiquette.
yeah.
It
Cyclists.
is. It is.
You
but they don't
you
follow
just
the same
can't
rules
think,
as drivers.
even if they're right in principle,
yeah,
you can still die, and
Mhm.
you should act accordingly.
yep. And in the winter, sometimes you see those fat bikes
Yeah.
on that lane as well.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, like seriously, man, you're really asking.
Is that how Richard broke his ribs?
He hit a Honda Civic Grizzly.
Anyways, so
Okay,
I'll leave it at that.
That's
I
a
think-
personal pet peeve for Prabhu.
Awareness.
If his local city councilor is watching, please
Take
widen
notes.
that section or get some better.
I
snow
might
clarity.
forward this clip over.
But it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Okay.
The next topic was around regulations that impact us as car enthusiasts.
Yeah. Front plates. Ugh.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Biggest one. Stupid, useless.
We were about to take away those front plates.
We were. That was a Doug, one of our provincial politicians.
COVID hit.
Yeah, and then that just stopped. Is it even coming back?
I think
I think there was an outcry from like the Police Chiefs Association that got together. Well, no, if you don't allow front plates
we
or you
can't,
don't enforce
we
front
can't
plates,
hit them with a laser.
crime is going to increase 50%. It was something like asinine that was said to that effect. Like
The biggest blunder regarding license plates is when they change the colors.
the blue.
The blue on white.
Yeah, they backed off of that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm less fussed about that. They tried something, it didn't work out, it peeled off, whatever.
No, it was
No,
actually hard to see.
Yeah,
Yeah, it didn't reflect it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Which is,
I think the
Again-
whole front plate notion,
But
I
Eric,
agree. I wish we didn't have them.
doesn't this blow your mind that the province gives away a contract to manufacture license plates
Yeah. It's our
for the
money.
entire
Yeah.
province?
Yeah, you cut it in
and,
half.
and it doesn't reflect. Like,
Bleep.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand. I definitely.
It's
That's our taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
It
I
blows my
think
mind.
50% of your money could be saved by just doing one plate instead of two.
Yeah.
Like in terms of cost, right?
I wish they come back with it
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should.
because not every province actually enforced the front plate, right?
It's environmentally friendly.
Alberta has no front plates, right?
Oh, a lot of provinces don't
Yeah.
have front
Quebec.
plates. Quebec doesn't.
Quebec,
No.
yeah.
I think there's a bunch,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of even in the U.S. There's a bunch of states.
Officer Casey,
Yeah.
he's nabbed me a few times.
front plate.
Yeah.
Uh,
The last time, I think Tarsi got about 9 tickets with him for front plate. I'm at about 6 or 7, but now he pulls me over, and I just tell him to spare me the Prius story and just give me the ticket. I'm like,
The Prius story.
he just
Someone died from.
he always says, I don't understand why you people drive.
You people.
Yeah, you people. He called me that.
Oh, you people.
Yeah.
He should be canceled.
Why?
he almost was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's like, I don't understand why you drive these cars and with no plates and on your
He's
wheels.
a car guy himself too.
Well,
I don't understand why you
that's-
want to put wood screws into your front bumper.
Mm.
Yeah.
to put some god awful piece of aluminum or whatever it's made
The
of.
thing is, it's getting harder because before, I think cars were maybe made with even cutouts to put a plate.
Yeah.
Now, even like your RS5,
Yeah.
a lot of cars,
You're right.
there's no room for a front plate. They're either blocking the
Porsche
adaptive
911.
cruise,
Yeah.
they're blocking the grill, or they're
Yeah.
blocking like intercoolers.
It's creating turbulence when you put a front plate up front.
Yeah.
You're kind of destroying the aerodynamic.
Well, that's far fetched. Let's just say they're blocking the adaptive cruise. Okay.
Imagine you have front plate on a
Yeah.
GT3 RS that's
Yeah.
supposed to have this sort of really,
Yeah.
intricate sort of airflow around
Yeah.
the car.
100%.
That's deflecting the air
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not a car you're driving every day.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'd be napped for no front plate every time you took it out. Let's say you got one infraction a year. I mean, whatever, right? It's more so the everyday cars on the road.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us just don't understand the why behind it.
Yeah.
Why do you need a front plate?
Yeah.
You get pulled over from behind.
Yeah.
Like there's no, I don't know.
Anyways, let's move on to the next one. What's another regulation? I think that one top of mind for me was luxury tax.
Yeah, not a regulation per se.
That's
but
not really like
Yeah.
road regulation. That's more of like a government collection.
I'd say government overreach,
Yeah.
or I followed this long
Before
and
it was
hard.
instated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's such a misstep, and I think there's just I think it's a political move. You're not actually going to collect more revenue, tax revenue from it, but it's a great headline to float in the papers that, you know, I can remember the words, you know, if you're in Canada, it's Chrystia Freeland, our finance minister. Oh, if you drive a car that's worth more than 100,000, you can afford to pay a little more. You know, that vapid, I won't get emotional, but that sort of vapid nonsense is that what you don't appreciate is that the person that buys a car for 200,000 is already paying more because it's a percentage of the HST. They're already paying 13% on 200,000, which is $26,000.
Yeah.
And what value has the government added in that transaction?
Roads are crap.
Yeah.
Roads are crap. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
There's not enforcement in the areas we like.
They don't clear our snow.
Right.
But, and not to mention, Eric, that 13% applies to that same car being sold over and over. So they're collecting, I think, at the end of the day, sometimes beyond the value of the car and taxes.
6 times.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is, so how the luxury tax works is it's the lesser of, if you've got 20% on the value over 100,000 for cars, 250,000 on boats, it's over 20% of the value over 100,000 or 10% of the total value of the car. It's the lesser of those two numbers. So basically anything over 200,000, you're going to the 10% of the total value. And that's, so if you're buying a $200,000 car, it's going to be $26,000 for HST. So you're paying 20, and then you pay an additional $20,000 tax. So it's $46,000 of tax on a $200,000 car.
But the HST is after the luxury taxes.
Maybe it's a tax on a tax.
But regardless, it's still $20,000.
It's still, so what, this is very myopic thinking, because what ends up happening is there's less velocity of car transactions, right? And they put a line in sand 2018 and newer.
Yeah.
Like we have friends that flip cars like underwear, right? And they're on 4 or 5 cars, and why would they keep doing this?
Yeah.
And slow down.
Actually, Rob is a good example, Rob Graham. So he actually bought a Lamborghini Technica.
And
he backed out because they told him it arrived, and the numbers were far off what they quoted him when he ordered it.
Right.
And that was in effect to, I guess, price increases, but also
the luxury tax. Yeah.
He just says it's too much.
You know, if I don't understand this as well, like if they're saying we want to stimulate the market, they want people.
They're not saying they want to stimulate the market. They want to collect more money.
Yes.
No, like
and they think that they can do it on the backs of the people that can afford.
Well, they're assuming they're going to sell the exact same amount of cars and collect that much more money.
But it's deterring people from buying.
100%.
So it's called the Laffer principle. I'm a student of economics, so it's LAFFER. And basically it says that the more you tax people, you actually can end up collecting less tax. You've seen this in the American economy.
There's less spend.
Where corporate, organizations, they get complex offshore structures that start taking money to Ireland and Grand Cayman,
to avoid taxes,
Bahamas, just to avoid tax. So if you made it like everyone will pay a reasonable amount of tax to a certain point.
Yeah.
But at what point is the threshold where they say, forget this, I'm actually leaving the country, and I'm going to, go to KPMG and set up this structure and not pay tax. Like,
do you think this luxury tax is the breaking point for like automotive sales? Do you think this is going to really dramatically decrease sales and push people to do that?
The dealerships are feeling that.
I think so. Yeah.
I think
but that's also because of interest.
I think there's a confluence of higher interest rates that will also slow it down. I think the economy, no one can feel bullish about this economy. It's pointed downwards. And I think all this money they've been printing is coming home to roost in terms of high inflation. People can't afford things. I don't think the disposable incomes are there. And I think this luxury tax is going to blow up. I don't think they're going to collect more. In fact, they're going to collect less.
I think they're going to revoke it at some point.
Not necessarily change of government.
No.
It's a political move. They want to punish the rich, the rich or the people they think are
But
cheating the system.
unfortunately, that range of income is in the middle class. If you think about it,
No, it is. You're
Like,
right.
It is
you're
because
not even
let's
targeting the rich.
but let's be honest. $100,000. It seems like a lot of money,
Mhm.
but you go and you buy a brand new
buy a
F-150 Lariat.
Yeah.
It's $85,000.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like before those trucks were 50.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
85 now.
But
So
that
like
im-
$100,000 is not a lot of money for a luxury,
That is my
an
point.
entry-level luxury
Yeah.
car.
because supply chain issues have disrupted the flow of all these goods, and it's become more expensive to produce them.
Mhm.
They're not taking that into consideration when they draw the line at 100K over.
Yeah.
It's like a car, like you said, a car that was, or a truck
Yeah.
that was 50K is now 80 to 90, even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's not data informed. Again, I think it's a great headline in a paper, and for much of the population, like 100,000, it's a lot. That's a lot of money for a car.
Yeah.
I'm not like, and I think a lot of people would say that, but for the people, they're actually punishing the middle class.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
I think is what it ends up being. And I don't think they're collecting more tax revenue. They're actually going to end up collecting less because, you're going to have people that aren't going to buy a car, like you gave an example. So not only not collecting the luxury tax, they're not even getting the HST on that transaction. Right?
Yeah.
They calculate
that is 13% on a $300,000 car. So that's $39,000 that they're not going to get
Yeah.
from that.
Remember, on these luxury items, you don't have to have them. You want them. So if it's deterring you
Yeah.
from purchasing, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
And like Eric's saying, they're going to make less tax in the end. It's just they're not needs, they're wants.
And there is no provision in the tax code or whatever that allows you to recoup these luxury taxes.
Yeah.
Interest in some cases you could write off as a business expense or something like that.
Yeah.
Luxury tax,
Yeah.
not so much.
Not so much. Yeah.
You buy a $200,000 car, you just lose 20 grand right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But even in terms of, like, let's say trade values or resales, or the ever so popular Porsche resale, like it won't be as beneficial anymore.
No,
Or-
I think it is on resale too, right? It's anything 2018 or
Yeah.
newer
Yeah.
is what it is in Canada.
not used cars. Used cars, if they're coming from out of Canada and has never been registered in Canada, it is subject to luxury tax.
Yes.
But if it has been registered in Canada,
then it's not anymore.
then it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pay it
It's
once.
new-
Just
new
the luxury
cars.
taxes once, HSTs forever.
When it enters port.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's say you're buying a car for 200,000 plus, and you're paying this 46,000 percent.
23 plus 20.
Yes. So you're paying so much tax on the car. When you go to trade that car in, you've just lost that much money in tax alone.
Yeah.
Plus the depreciation on the car.
Yeah.
So you're losing a lot of money on trade.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not even justifiable anymore because you're like, at this point, I'll just drive this car to the ground.
Yeah.
But
what's interesting though is this is impacting the used car market as well.
Yeah,
You've
sure.
seen
They
the
will.
prices of these cars
Go up.
adjust to account for this luxury tax on these
Yeah.
items as well. Even people that have not paid the luxury tax for cars that are over 200 grand, they've gone up by that much.
Yes.
Because
Yep.
now in order for you to buy a brand new car,
Yeah.
you have to pay
How much more?
10%.
Yeah.
So used cars now, I think, have gone up 10%
it's all relative at the end, right?
by default.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
so,
when you're
the,
trading
so the
in-
government has also made cars, and that's unaffordable for a lot of people,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? So they've impacted car affordability.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you could recoup your luxury tax, is by tacking that on as a 10% markup on a resale.
hmm
So adjust for the price. I'm like, look, I paid 20 grand for this. Let's
Yeah.
bring it down.
But there's a lot of
like
dealers who are trying to get around this luxury tax too, right? So I think they have a secondary dealership that they're registering the car
Mhm.
as a demo. They're not. I think they're exempt from luxury tax.
Yeah.
So then after it's not actually a demo. It's a brand new car, but they're selling it as a used car.
Yeah.
There's loopholes at this point, right?
They can only push it so much,
So much,
because
yeah.
it gets audited and it comes back and they
Yeah.
have to come and chase you again
Exactly.
after. Okay, let's move on to another quick
Mhm.
one. We're about an hour in.
I think we're nearing the
Yeah.
end of our podcast.
Yeah. There was one that was kind of new. It was about modifications to our cars.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing this, where they're going to start taxing us for the mods that are on the car too. or was it finding us or
So I heard
taxing us?
about that, but how
Yeah,
are they
and
going to
after
control
yes, that I think it was the luxury tax would apply to modifications.
Yes,
of the car,
Yeah.
that's it.
which I think enforceability is near 0%.
Yeah.
Like how could you possibly know that I'm buying HRE wheels for my $120,000 car versus my $80,000 car?
Yeah.
You don't know.
I think that was the same. This is the same scenario that was proposed by the city when they wanted to tax me on my well water
Yeah,
or charge me. Yeah.
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 And
And
well, where we
so, you have well and septic, and they wanted to charge you for sewer and water.
waters.
And I said, and you're like, how can you charge us for water if it's underground and we're pumping it?
And we pay. You pay to drill it. You pay for the pump. You pay for
Yeah.
everything.
Ron, crazy, right?
They
How
clean
did
it.
they even audit
like-
that?
Yeah.
Right. I think probably a common underlying theme of all this is like we just have governments that are across the Western world that are just
Thirsty.
incredibly entitled
Yeah.
to our money
Yeah.
without giving any payback or any
Yeah.
value to earn it. It's I think that is one of the most
If we had better roads, if
Yeah,
we had
we'll
better
pay for value.
healthcare, if we had
Get
better
any of that. Right.
snow clearance,
everything's gotten worse. I've
Yeah.
only paid more and
gotten
everything's
worse.
gotten worse.
Can we all agree that the government is a legal mafia? Is that like
Yeah, I think that's
okay?
yeah.
Most worlds are like that,
All
I
right.
suppose.
Yeah.
Anything else on sort of regulations that's worth calling out? I think those are some of the key ones that's really impacting us. Here's a good one.
Mhm.
Noise regulations.
I had to sign a waiver when I bought my car for the exhaust.
Are you serious?
I bought it with a performance exhaust and
Like
wait,
OEM.
OEM option, and I actually had to sign a waiver that said I can be that it exceeded decibel regulations or
Yeah.
something, and that I may be pulled over with the anyways OEM exhaust. But
I've seen viral videos of like California where it is a OEM option. It might have had a burble tune, whatever it was, and the police officers gave them a citation and said you actually have to get this removed, and you have to show up in court and confirm that. And he's saying, well, this is a factory option. I don't care. You have to get this
I remember that.
exhaust,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you have to get this abated.
get it removed. You want it louder, officer?
Right. Right.
You know?
But it's at least it's evolving, because I remember like when Porsche launched their GT3 car, they couldn't sell the manuals in California for
It's
emissions.
from emissions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they worked with them and said, look, here's a scenario, and now manuals are available.
Yeah.
So Porsche, I mean, they're at least open to a conversation and amending
I
kind of.
think you're more charitable with your view on it, but
There's cars that are too loud, that
Yeah.
are aftermarket. I hear they're just too loud. They don't sound good.
Mhm.
But I don't think I can say there's a single OEM specific car that's too loud.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's ones that are louder than others. One specific example that pops into my head is the Jaguar F-Type. That was a very
the V8 one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that was like an OEM exhaust, but it's loud.
Okay.
It's
apply that standard to any motorcycle on the road.
I-
You wouldn't have a motorcycle
No,
on the road.
exactly.
They're way louder.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
They don't apply the same rules
You know
to
what?
motorcycles.
Yeah, I actually brought that up with Officer Casey.
Well,
I brought, he was a little bit triggered there, but he didn't know how to respond because he put me over for front plate, and I said, "Well, officer, why aren't you running a front plate on your bike? You're sharing the road with me. You're still driving a motor vehicle on the road, and you're not running a front plate." And he told me to go ahead and try to change the Constitution or something.
The Constitution. It's the Highway Traffic Act.
Yeah.
but-
So I'm like, okay, all right. And then and then also about the exhaust, he mentioned, is that an aftermarket muffler? I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, your bike's louder than my car. I turned around, walked back to his car.
It didn't give you a ticket.
Oh no, he gave me.
Oh, he gave it to
Oh,
me.
he gave it.
Of course
to
he
me.
gave
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Probably added
I got
more
you.
onto it for
See,
spiting him.
This is what's crazy.
Yeah.
Lucas is like up in the face of these cops. Even when we had that scenario where
Yeah.
we're just taking photos at one time,
Yeah,
cops just came up and like Lucas is butting heads with the cops. I'm like, okay,
You're never gonna win. You
Yeah.
never win.
I don't care, but there's a certain actions that need to be
checked.
objected to, and it's like we were minding our own business on that one day. We all get together at a corner gas station somewhere that's closed, taking some photos and hanging out, and these two squad cars come peeling in, like we're some sort of we're criminals
Well, 'cause
dealing cocaine.
neighbors thought we were doing drugs.
Neighbors can think whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's up to the
Yeah.
police to assess
Make
the
a judgment.
situation appropriately, right? but they came in like bad to hell, right? In the parking lot.
Yeah, they rushed in. It was like,
Rushed
what you
in.
guys doing?
Doors fly open.
Yeah.
There's spotlights on it. It's like lunchtime,
Yeah.
you know? Were you there? You were
No,
no.
I didn't.
So genuinely, at this time, when he was butting heads with the two cops, I'm like, yeah, we're going to jail today.
Yeah.
And I had to step in and be like, officers, we're just taking pictures.
We're taking pictures of cars.
Yeah.
Like, surely there's more pressing matters in law
Yeah.
enforcement at this moment.
And they were kind of grilling us about our front plate. And I'm like,
After he calmed down, though,
yeah.
I gave him a bit of heat, and then he just, I'm like, and I was
No,
like,
I think I stepped in. I was like, okay, officer, we're sorry, but this is what we're doing.
and I'm not sorry.
I know. I'm here, like Peter and I, we were trying to diffuse the situation by being calm. And he's like,
Yeah.
so what's up, man?
Yeah. Well, I think it's always good to be calm. Like, I think,
Anyways, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
yeah, or we
So-
get arrested.
Yes.
So regulations and road etiquette. What are some of the things that you would call out as well? Would you agree to with some of the things that frustrate us about etiquette on the
We
road?
didn't cover a really important one.
Ooh.
It's not so much etiquette, but road restrictions and so forth.
Oh yeah.
To what point is a car unsafe on the road?
In what point though?
I guess
Like bald tires.
bald tires,
yeah.
glued on pieces on the car.
That's part of regulation. Yeah.
Yeah, but like in Ontario, you don't have to obtain a safety unless you sell the car.
But that's not required anymore.
It's not. But should it be? Should there be some sort of control over how safe a vehicle is on the road, right?
Because even emission standards and things like that on selling a car, we don't need to do that anymore. With
Emissions are gone, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad. That was great. That was
It was a money grab type.
yeah,
yeah,
totally
people
money.
calling it out.
It's hard for me to argue in favor of more regulation. I do agree when a car, probably whether it's the age of the car, there should be a framework where at a certain point maybe it does need to
Tested.
be deemed roadworthy and assessed. But
I mean, do you need regulations for that though? I mean, you as a buyer,
Yeah.
isn't it your best interest to do a pre-purchase inspection of the car?
well,
That will determine.
we are car people and we think that we feel that way, but there's a lot of drivers out there that maybe they don't have the money.
Yeah.
They would
That's
need
true.
to know where to start.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even with these safety checks, you had to pay for it. It was not free.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, you
I-
you had to pay for
yeah.
safety.
And somebody had to drive your car.
Somebody
That's
else
the
had to
worst
drive
part.
it.
Worst part.
That's a good one.
hmm
I don't know if, how that. I guess that's why they took it off because there's no clear way of really standardizing and saying this is what safety is.
Yeah.
I mean,
The one thing, one more, like a pet peeve, and I want to be respectful, but like truckers, I I appreciate the work they do, but there's just those moments. I think you touched on it a bit, like where there's a 2-lane, highway,
why
and
are you on the
they both sit in the same lane, and maybe one's going 100, one's going 101, and you're having a buildup of cars, 5 kilometers back because he's taking his time passing.
Why would they not speed up just a little
They
bit?
can't.
Why can't one?
They have a cap.
Oh,
Those trucks.
You think they're governed?
100%. So certain trucks, they have, depending on their insurance and liabilities
What their
and
load, what their
cargo,
yeah.
like one truck can go a max speed of 105,
yeah,
one
yeah.
can go 115, one can go only like 101.
Yeah.
So if the guy behind, he's on full throttle and he feels he has to back off and hold off that 2 kilometers, he's going to pass.
Yeah.
And he might get to BC 12 minutes sooner than
Yeah.
the other guy. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I never I think there should be a specific trucking lane
Yes.
where they just go in order. That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple as that.
And this is what they experiment with in Europe as well. They have, when these trucks, they're autonomous trucks, but
Mhm.
when they get on the highway, they're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Guy sits back,
Just go 110
it's on a
all the
gate,
way.
They're all in,
Yeah.
and they're aerodynamically efficient too,
Yeah.
because the first guy
Less drag.
less
Yeah.
drag. They're all in like this train-like
You
situation.
got the slipstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that here, but we don't have the infrastructure for it, right? We don't have
Well,
a dedicated
I
lane.
think we do. If we just kept the trucks in one lane, I think we'd have much less traffic, to be honest. You know?
It's a good one. Good call out. On that note,
All right.
let's
We're
wrap
out.
up.
We're out.
Thank you all for watching. It's I'm feeling a little mellow after this one.
I need some more.
yeah,
Wait, I'm driving home, right?
you're
Easy there.
Never mind.
Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you all in the next one. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all those things, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.